Hello, hello, another Tuesday. And
Definitely Tuesday, that's for
boy,
sure.
how was everyone's weekend, especially on Saturday? I mean, that was, for me, it was it's like, why did that have to happen on the weekend, B, to Trump? Not to say I endorse violence or anything, but why did it even have to happen at all?
Well, I mean, people are crazy. We know this. Obviously, we're still learning about the person who took that shot. I'm sure we'll learn all kinds of interesting things about him. Um, or also the fact that the Secret Service somehow botched up something so simple and at least from my perspective, like how rooftop 150 yards ish away, nobody on it.
And
Um,
we're gonna get into all a little bit of all of that tonight. And also, and before we begin the show indefinitely, this is the Human Lives Matter T-shirt. They're only $15. You can get it on worgoa.com/shop. And of course, there will be some shipping because Biden makes everything super expensive, but blame Trump for everything, as the leftists say.
well, I mean, who else are we going to blame? Remember, we blamed George Bush for 8 years.
Oh, of course. So, we're going to begin with this message from a presidential candidate from the Constitution Party, Randall Terry, and then we're going to dive into it.
I'm in Las Vegas. We just finished the free and equal presidential debate. If you see it online, hopefully you'll be inspired. There'll be some intelligent things, way more than the last debate we saw on TV. But I want to address President Biden's speech that he just gave from the Oval Office regarding the attempted assassination of former President Trump. It was despicable. He is a dishonorable and dishonest man. His rhetoric is what has ratcheted this up, lumping all of MAGA Republicans in with people that want to destroy democracy, take away a woman's right to kill her baby. It is the Democrat Party that is the fountain of evil, the fountain of oppression, the fountain of injustice and child abuse in this country, and the Democrat Party must be destroyed. And we don't have to resort to bullets. We can do it at the ballot box, because what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrat leadership stand for is tyranny, oppression, bloodshed. And for him to link the January 6th protests with the attempted assassination of the next president was despicable. Hey, Joe, can you spare a few FBI agents to investigate what just happened rather than pursuing people who want to sell raw milk and people who want to protest to protect babies? God hasten the day when you get the retirement you so richly deserve.
Now imagine that. You heard all that, right?
I had to watch it on my TV, but yes.
But imagine that it's what he says is absolutely right. I mean, even if Biden did spare those few FBI agents, do you really think they would be as effective as the Secret Service, the Pennsylvania State Police, and Josh Shapiro?
Yeah, I mean, they've been calling for an increase in protection, especially for candidates, and that's one of the things that I really had to I have to hand it to Donald Trump for sticking up and getting RFK Jr. his protection detail. I mean, not that the Kennedys have a bad line of politicians in their family or anything and bad things happening to them, but it's a reality. And what happened on Saturday is just proof that just being a candidate is enough to just spark up nonsense, within the communities. And again, we're still going to be learning about what happened and why it happened. I'm not putting my tinfoil hat on or anything. It's just some things they just don't fit. The FBI, the Secret Service saying, "Oh, we didn't have anybody on that roof because it was slanted." Meanwhile, the snipers who took the shot to end the problem were on a roof, and it looked like a roof. So I don't buy that one bit. What about the police officer who allegedly climbed up onto the roof and then just ran away? That seems to be a trend nowadays. So can't even trust our police to do their jobs. What about the fact that you had multiple people getting this guy on video trying to alert security that, hey, there's somebody up there. Either it doesn't feel right or they knew exactly what that kid was up to. Nothing was done. He was supposedly seen about 30 minutes before the shots rang out, being questionable at most, or at the very least. Let's see. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah. It just nothing about it fits as far as any normal thing. Like, you're telling me that this idiot, this bumbling 20-year-old, somehow outsmarted the Secret Service. Quinn, you were at the rally, in Schnecksville with, when we were there.
Yes, it was.
I would say that place was pretty much on lockdown.
And
so what happened Saturday?
That's you mean my Saturday over at the Schnecksville?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about this last Saturday. Oh, you mean this assassination attempt?
Yeah, like what happened? Like
how?
I mean,
I'll tell you
I would
one.
say we were very thoroughly checked. They did a very good job of keeping any sort of like line of sight, vantage points, and all that stuff covered or blocked. There were police on the hill behind the rally. That what was that hill? Almost a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And they had people up and down that road. They had people in that field. Like, you could not move within that area without being known. So again, who messed up? Like, was it not enough people? Was it poor planning? Was it on purpose? Like, there's all these things that we factor into this because it shouldn't happen, especially with somebody like him.
Well, what's funny is it's very funny because when I went to my rally, they didn't just take, but they stole my tripod because, menace to society, a tripod. But a guy can get so close to Trump like that with a gun. Let's see. Everything he brought with him carried a 12-foot ladder, an AR-15, 50 rounds, then walk up a mile to Trump's rally. So yeah, right there, he brought all that with him. So this is an inside job. It's an inside job. We cannot trust the local police. We cannot trust our own state police. We cannot trust the FBI, the Secret Service, to do their jobs. It's not about this hiring based on race or whatever else. It's not about that. They will just want people that are on their side that will feed their corruption. That's all they want.
Yeah, it's like I said. There's way too many red flags for me to not put my tinfoil hat on. The other thing was, some former FBI person. He did an interview and he said, well, maybe they got him confused with other people that were guarding the event. Yes, because everybody was just wearing a tan T-shirt that he bought from a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and what's ironically, I'm seeing more articles attacking the YouTuber for producing the content that he does and selling the merchandise that he does, because apparently that's what made this kid do it. He bought a T-shirt from a guy in Texas and decided, hey, you know what? I got a really good idea now. I'm going to go do this.
It's pathetic. And then you know what? They keep saying that he was a registered Democrat, but and they're trying to say that it's our fault on our side because of that. But here's two questions they did not ask. One, how long was he a registered Democrat? Was
2021.
because
I think
I recently changed mine party from Republican to a Constitution party. Okay, so that doesn't fly with me until I know about the date. And then second, even if he was a forever Democrat registered, how do we know it wasn't to help the Democrats by voting for Nikki Haley to help the Democrats to go against Trump? These are the two things these are the questions that never get asked by the mainstream media, because the mainstream media is fake, and I have a clip of how fake they are. Go ahead. Go ahead and say what you wanted to.
Yeah, so I guess he was registered from when he turned 18, because that's one of the few things that they actually help you with in high school. No, as of right now, no history of voting whatsoever. So again, most 18-year-olds, when they're registering to vote, they have no idea. They're just, oh, my mom's this or my dad's that, and that's what I'm going to register as. It's not until they start progressing and learning about themselves and what they want, what they support, what they believe in, all that stuff. That's when, the real party affiliation comes into play. Like you had said, was he a registered Republican to mess with the primaries? I don't know. I know people that switch pretty much every year because they know that the primary is what makes the most sense. And if you're an incumbent, guess what? You're getting the nomination. It's just kind of how it works. So if you think that there's somebody on the other side that could either do a better job that you want to see challenge the incumbent, or if you just want to be malicious about it and vote for somebody who has no chance when it gets to the general, you can do that as well. Kind of one of the things that I'm kind of disappointed with how Pennsylvania operates, where, yeah, I'm registered Republican. But I also think that I shouldn't have to worry about changing my political affiliation if I think somebody else can do a better job. And that's another reason why we're in where we're at, because we just make it to the point where it's like, yeah, I could just go online and change it, but do I really want to? Do I really care? And not enough people care. That's really what it comes down to.
And now here's how fake. Now here's a small clip. Trump's speech interrupted by a Secret Service.
Yeah.
Because and then there was another one that said that he fell.
Yep. He fell down.
I mean, it's pathetic. And CNN, is trying to cover up the shooting, the assassination attempt made on Trump's life, just because they hate Trump. And the reason why they hate Trump is because he don't play the political I'm going to give you tax money games when that money belongs to us, the people. And then here's the clip from NBC now. Savannah Hernandez tried to interview NBC about their faulty reporting. Take a look at this.
Kristen, I have a question. NBC reported that when Trump was assassinated, attempted assassination, it was popping noises that was initially reported. Would you like to respond to that? No? Yep. All right, y'all, this is Savannah Hernandez, and this is actually Kristen Welkener right behind me of NBC News, the exact same network that reported after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump that it was just popping noises. Kristen, would you like to say anything? No? Would anybody a part of NBC like to say anything about your faulty reporting? Not at all? Okay.
Popping noises.
You know what
That's
that
what they
was?
want to call it.
They knew exactly what it was. They were trying to be the first outlet to get something out there, so they would get those initial clicks on something. Also, in any other shooting that happens in this country, we try to figure out who it is and how do we present it. Because remember, certain people can go kill a lot of people, and we don't know their identity for weeks. And where do they lean on the political spectrum? They're not conservatives. But the minute it's a white conservative male, immediately we know 100% his entire background, which is why I'm like, we don't know a lot about this guy right now. So yeah, he was registered Republican, but that's about it. So they're still digging. They're still trying to find the information that they're going to use for their spin.
And of course, and they're going to try to attack us as much as possible, and we keep feeding into we keep funding them by buying products and services from the rich companies, giving millions of dollars to do this to us. I find it ironic that the very people that say they're fighting for our country, or funding their own destruction. And I kind of like what Mindy Robinson said before tax day. If you owe money, don't do your taxes. Don't pay them, because you fund your own destruction. And if that's like perfectly said, I would not. I mean, that's like that would be like a criminal, paying the state to say, "Hey, here's some money. Could you execute me?" Yeah, because that happens on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's just remember, rich people are fine as long as they give to the things that we like. And you and I, we're pretty much identical thought process. I don't care what somebody does with their money. It's not my place. If you want to buy a mansion, cool. You want to buy a speedboat, cool. Doesn't matter to me. It's just when certain people spend money on certain things, you always have well, what could we have done with that money that doesn't involve you being lavish? Nobody's getting rid of rich people. These tax things that Biden talks about will never happen. And the reason being, they need rich people to run their campaigns, because no money means no donors, means no campaign. And you're not going to tax the people who are giving you lots and lots of money. It's just not going to happen. Just like when Trump and Hillary did the debate, and he said, "Do you want me to pay my taxes? Change the law." But you won't, because your donors benefit from it the same way I do. And that's really what it comes down to. And we focus on this much of a problem all the time as humans. Meanwhile, the problem's the size of an elephant, but we're focused on, one little hair of the entire beast that is this system.
Well, now for a while, first they couldn't access the shooter's phone. Now all of a sudden they have access, but they somehow can't think of no motive. I'm pretty sure that the motive was to take Trump out, and so because he interfered with bank accounts of crooked politicians while they steal from us through taxation. They used the 16th Amendment to steal from us, And it's like the Constitution is supposed to benefit the people to give us power, not to give the government more power. And this is why we got to get rid of it, or else we're going to continue fighting the government.
Yeah, we've the government is the bratty child that was never told no, and it's a bratty teenager, and it's like I said, the government's the spoiled little rich daughter with daddy's credit card. That it's not money. It's somebody else's. I'm not working for this. It's just I remember, like, I'm old enough to remember the first time I heard we were giving $1 billion to something, and I was like, oh my god, billion with a B. And like we couldn't fit that number in our head. Now $1 billion runs the government for what, like a day and a half, if that. It's ridiculous. It's billion here, billion there, and it's like you're handing out lollipops from the bank. Like, this is real things. This is money. This is stuff people earn, and you're going to take it from us to give it to people who don't live here. You're going to borrow and then put us all in debt. You're going to jack up inflation by printing money. So in reality, any raises anybody has gotten in the last, couple of years has all been washed away and then some, because the price of everything is through the roof. Let's see. When Trump was president, a case of Busch Light cost me $18. $18. It is now $25. Same beer. Nothing special, but it is now expensive. And why is that? Is it because my dollar doesn't go as far as it did? Oh, no, it's definitely not inflation. It's corporate greed. It's totally corporate greed. Yeah, they're just gouging me because, they can. No, stuff costs more. If I'm paying more for something, it's probably because it's costing them more to make. So the only correlation between the two is everything costs more. Why does it cost more? Again, dollars not going as far as it used to. Nixon screwed us by taking us off the gold standard. We have no tangible backing of our money. It's just we promise, guys. We promise.
Now, just keep in mind, though, if you were at the Capitol on J6, and you were contacting people, guess what? Your phone will easily be accessed. Mm-hmm. But the shooter somehow wasn't able to be accessed until people started complaining. They saw it, and then they said, oh, yeah, now we got access, but we still can't find the motive. Mindy Robinson posted on her X, and I don't have that on me, but she posted, we all know they deleted everything. They deleted all the information about the motive and everything.
My two theories on the motive, and they're honestly the same. It's just which outcome they were going for. Obviously, we know what the intention was as far as what he was trying to do that day. It's just what outcome was he really trying to go for? Was he trying to get Republicans pissed off to the point where we just say, we're done, and we just start putting boots to necks? Or, again, I think it was just, he wanted chaos. I think he wanted chaos. It's just, did he want any certain side to benefit? Was he just an anarchist? Like, we don't know. And we probably never will, unfortunately. I mean, it's not like, Donald Trump's somebody important that we need to get to the bottom of this, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a dumb mechanic. We're already at that tipping point, and something like that would not go over well with the population. People would be fighting in the streets, and that's not what I want to see. So that alone, that's why I'm very happy that the events turned out as good as they did, in considering what could have happened. Considering that the
Secret Service did a very poor job in the whole process, but somehow, fortunately, that Trump survived, but unfortunately, a bystander died.
And
And by the way, President Biden did reach out to the widow, but she did not want to speak to him at
ooh,
all because he was a longtime Republican, and she said that she didn't think he would want her to speak to Biden.
her husband's dead because of what's going on in government. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, I'm not even going to blame Biden himself. I'm just going to blame that entire party because remember, we don't they don't want violence and all that stuff, but yeah, we burn down cities. We have politicians on national news saying, "Oh, you see somebody in a restaurant, you need to go harass them." It's what that has been comic that did the bloody head thing, like that was okay. Snoop Dogg did a rap video where he simulated shooting Donald Trump, like things like that. All that stuff happens. It's perfectly okay because it's art, or it's we're just fed up. Well, you know what? It's gonna get to the point where the calm and quiet people stop being calm and quiet, and I know it's going to happen, and it's just we need to unscrew this thing very, very quickly, throw some water on it, calm it down. Yes, what happened Saturday, absolutely terrible event. It could have been worse in the big picture. But yeah, if we don't get these people under control and make them realize oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that, rather than just putting the blame on one side, because within minutes of the news breaking on Saturday night, there was conspiracy theories already circling about the left side of the internet about how it was staged.
Of course.
And Trump did it for publicity and for the sympathy. Meanwhile, we had just found out that 3 other people were shot, one of them critical, or one of them dead, trying to protect his wife and daughter. And we're still gonna go with he did that. Yeah, he would totally do that. Interesting.
Because that's what Trump wants. One of his voters to die.
Yeah, especially
Because
the guy
that makes a lot of sense.
especially somebody who's sitting up on that stage, because in order to be on that stage, you are either somebody very important or a very, very important donor. You don't just go sit up there because you got a free ticket on the internet. That's not how you get there. Everybody on that stage is properly vetted. They're up there for a reason. They've proven why they need to be up there for whatever the criteria is. And we're going to say that this was fake, but that's perfectly okay. It was all over the internet. There were some news outlets that were reporting it, not big ones, but again, news outlets saying that it was all staged. And I'm like, wait a minute, didn't we just fine somebody $1.5 billion for saying something was staged?
Go figure that one out. And speaking of all that, the leftists say they're loving, tolerant, and all that. And we come across posts such as this. This was on a Facebook post. She didn't even care that a man died. In fact, she was happy about it. But, the leftists are so loving and tolerant and not hateful. I find that hateful if you want someone to die. If you take death lightly, I don't care if you're a left or a right winger. If you are celebrating someone's death, you are a horrible human being.
Oh yeah.
And you deserve whatever comes to you, because
I knew the post that you had put up there. I had a feeling that was going to be the one, because that was the one that really rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, okay, let's just say we're okay with, wishing death upon somebody. Um, the fact that you're just happy with somebody who would have voted for him, that was pretty low. And I'm pretty sure her business or her job or whatever got absolutely blasted. Yeah, she's famous now, and not for something good. Go to places like Reddit, and which is, like I said, it's the cesspool of the internet, or Twitter, and just watch what these people post, and they like, and you're worried about me, like. I'm the one that's like trying to help people and try and understand things outside of my own brain and my own house, and like, okay, well, all right, cool, you got an awesome point of view there. That's I learned something. Thank you. I don't see that same reciprocation from them at all, ever. And it's like you were saying, party of love and acceptance. But I'll tell you what, the amount of people who give me grief on a day-to-day basis, they're not wearing red hats, I'll tell you that much, because the red hat people, very helpful, very nice people. And guess what? Unless you bring up politics, they're not going to talk about them, because they know what they're doing and they know what they want, and they're going to do it anyway. They don't need approval. They don't need to, like, you and I don't go out and say up to random people, be like, hey, who are you voting for? And then like start berating them because they're wrong. Now, granted, if we open up that line of conversation, yeah, we can have a discussion. It's just what happens when you and I talk with anybody on the left. Name calling. It's like arguing with a toddler.
It's well, you know what? And for some big people like Charlie Cook and Candace Owens, it's not just insults, but they get assaulted. Amazing that they call someone like me a racist for wearing Human Lives Matter t-shirt, but they will be the first they'll be the first ones to assault Candace Owens for thinking differently than themselves, than the liberal black human beings. Now, imagine that. So what are they trying to do? Enslave her mind to think however she wants, from thinking how she wants to think? From disagreeing with people, from anyone? No. It's like, come on now. The fact that Democrats have been trying to bring back slavery since 1865, after the Republicans abolished it, Bible-believing Republicans, when it first started, it just says it all. It just says it right all there. That enslave the heart, make them trust you, and then enslave the mind through the education system.
Yeah, we're there. It doesn't have the same form that it did, and the government programs are not helping people. Whether they were intentionally meant to keep people down or not, I don't know. Let's just, for lack of a better argument, let's just say that it was meant for well-intentioned and meant to help people. And then guess what? It grew out of control. There's a reason why when you go to a state park or a national forest, they tells you don't feed the animals, because they become reliant upon you for food and can no longer function on their own. Because why would I go hunt for food or forage for food when I just go over here and nudge this human and he's going to give me a sandwich? It's the same thing. And oh well, they're not actually enslaved. No, it's not even a race thing. It's a rich versus poor thing. You keep poor people basically just pulling that fishing hook just a little bit further. It's like, oh, you almost got it, almost got it, almost got it. It's just keep giving them that false sense of hope. Like, yeah, this is only temporary. Well, guess what? You're not going to vote against the person who's putting food on your table. That's really what it comes down to, and that's what they've ingrained into these communities. And I watch a lot of like man on the street style interviews. Just people will go out and just talk with random people in neighborhoods, and just to kind of get a grasp on like, okay, what do the people of Compton, California have to say about this? And you'd be surprised how many Trump supporters there are in Compton. I would have never guessed. But it was a same thing like any other place. It's very diverse, and everybody has their own opinion as to why they lean to the left or why they lean to the right. It doesn't matter. It's just people are waking up, and that's what's starting to scare the Democrats, I feel, because they had a whole lot of votes in the bucket just based off of, handing things out. And it's just not covering it anymore. And, they created the monster, it got out of control, and now they're trying to figure out how do you put this back into the box, because the box is, now that's out of the box, it's no longer useful to me. And that's when you watch them eat their own. I love watching the left eat their own. It's amazing. You know me. I'm an Elon guy. I like Elon Musk, and he was going to save the planet. He's doing this. We didn't care that we were giving him billions of dollars of taxpayer money to help get his company up and going. The minute he decided that he's going to say something even remotely right leaning, they turned on him. And it was glorious because, we took him in with open arms. We're like, all right, dude's cool. He realizes that, yes, we need to do things about fuel, alternative energy. Cool. But he's going to do it in a manner where I'm going to build a product, and if you want to buy it, great. If not, cool. I'm not saying we can do away with gasoline-powered cars. You just can't do it. There's just, whatever. We're off topic. But it was just funny watching the left eat people like him alive just because he had one opinion that did not align with their agenda.
It was, speaking of Elon Musk and him loving free speech. Now this video, I think, which I should have said at the beginning, but I wanted to leave for some time about now. But a veteran confronts someone at a Home Depot.
Yes.
Wow.
Are you Darcy Waldron? Yeah?
Waldron, yeah.
Okay, from Cayuga? And you think that the shooter should have been a better shot? Is that what you posted on Facebook?
I am at work.
You think that the shooter should have been a shooter, huh?
I am at work.
Yeah, I think that's pretty messed up. Pretty anti-American if you ask me. As a veteran, I'm disgusted. What have you provided to this country? Huh? I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. You are ridiculous. And I'm making you famous.
I say, if you know a person that posts something like this, you should confront them. Especially if you're a veteran, if you're someone who, loves your country, if you love your country, but especially if you're a veteran and you've fought for this country and someone says, oh, I hope they die, on your page, I say you need to confront them. And if you have to do it in the workplace, do it.
What I want to see is how they handle this. I want to see how the left handles this, because anytime conservatives say anything even remotely out of step on the internet or anywhere that's recorded, they just get berated for it. So I want to see how is the media going to cover this, because remember, 78-year-old grandma who just happened to be in Washington, D.C. on a certain day is getting investigated by the FBI. And she was just there, minding her own business. She probably, honestly, why can't we should be able to give her the same credit we give Joe Biden. She just got confused. She's like, oh, all the people are going this way. All right, guess that's what we're doing. Nope. Now they want to make her a felon.
And so people in the audience, I would definitely whoever's listening, what would you do like, would you agree with me that we should go to the people and maybe either report them to their bosses or confront them straight out like that guy did? What would you, I mean, or would you just go on their Facebook page and say something to them? I mean, I would like to know what the audience thinks on this one for sure.
I mean, I loved watching that guy, confront her at Home Depot like that. Like, it brought me great joy to see somebody do that because, again, it's happened to us so many times. I don't want to say that it's the proper thing to do because then it's going to turn into, well, they're attacking me. And I don't want to give them any sort of ammunition that they can use against us, per se, because it's just, I don't know. I think maybe just as I'm getting older, I care a lot less about yeah, go be stupid on the internet. If it's something where I'm not going to seek you out, but if I see it, I'm going to comment. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about especially going to somebody's job. Because again, it's a double-edged sword. Like, it's no different than if they were to come after, let's say somebody saw this podcast and said, I don't agree with anything they do. I'm going to go find out where they work and complain to their boss. Well, first off, if you don't like anything that I say and you're going to go complain to my boss, get ready for a whole lot of, I don't give a what you think, because that's how he operates. He knows everything that I do, because I'm courteous like that, and he supports it. So have fun getting laughed at by my boss.
Well, hopefully, maybe a business would like to, be a sponsor to our podcast. That would be cool.
I'm talking with him about it. I said, you need to get your name out there, dude. I mean, it's not that we don't have the business. It's just media for what we do. It doesn't benefit necessarily from advertising. And I'm like, dude, just let me throw a logo up or something. He's like, let me think about it. Let me think about it. So I think what he does, I think he might actually watch these just to make sure that he's not employing an absolute psychopath. Because I am a little bit off my rocker, especially at work. I like to make it fun. Yeah, we got to go and be there every day. Get up here, cat. She's back there screaming. But I am at work in real life the same way I am right here. I rant, I rave. I like to have fun, and in that process, I like to at least think that I'm coming up with some sort of an idea that I may be able to present to somebody in the future that may help a problem get solved. Because unfortunately, guys like you and me, we're not the ones out there making the changes. We have to have the idea and then have that idea stolen by somebody who's going to go out there and, obviously implement it and then take all the credit.
Well, you know what? I don't care if my ideas get stolen as long as I can work together with the people out there and we all win. Because when we all win, the government loses. That's how I see it. In order for the government to lose, the people must win. And if the people are losing, then the government is winning. And I don't like it when the government's winning because they take control of every area of our lives. They stamp on, come on, we're still giving money to Amazon over Public Square on things that we can get from Public Square. Or we're funding The View by watching it over many podcasters and everyone else that's actually given real news. Let The View starve with bare bones with, of course, the leftists and, us who have to watch it and let everyone else, starve them. And I wouldn't even watch The View much if I had to anyway, because I want them to starve. So I try to stay away from that.
Oh,
but
I won't even let my TV be on the station that it's aired on, just in case it somehow thinks it's being watched. I do not want to contribute to their ratings at all. And again, I don't even know how they have been a show for as long as they have. Are they actually making money? Or is it just being funded because they're pushing something? Is it somebody's pet project that they're just saying, you know what, that's fine. I'll lose a bunch of money on this. That's okay. Because you know what? I really like what Whoopi Goldberg had to say, said no one ever.
The leftist would, and then they would.
Yeah, I don't get how that show even remains on the air, and and a lot of others like it. It's just a bunch of catty women back and forth, and you can tell they're reading off of cue cards. They don't actually know what they're saying. I really truly believe that a lot of these talk show hosts don't actually have their own opinion. They just say what they want, or they say what they're told. I mean,
Well, kind of like a leftist. They are told what to say and how to see. See, with someone like when the leftist talks to someone like Charlie Cook comes with a bunch of totally right wing talking points, and they are prepared for him, you know, up to a certain point. But with someone like me who can see things, in a middle point of view on some subjects, I would say I like they are totally unprepared to talk to someone like me because I stump them every time, like every single time, and they don't know how to handle me. I'm like the worst, and I'm like the worst. They're not prepared for me. The leftist agenda don't know what I'll say. So it's like because come on, you're talking to a guy who sells Human Lives Matter T-shirts. That goes against both sides,
right?
and
Because
this
I like your shirt because it doesn't do the division thing.
exactly, and see, this is where both sides should say, you know what, you're right. We should get these. We should get these shirts, spread out the message, bring one step closer back to our humanity. We're not going to agree on every little thing, but that's okay. At least we can stop the insults and we can stop the assaults. And that's basically my 100% goal, to get us talking again.
Right.
And it's and we need to do it before we end up in the Civil War and then World War III, and then we end up destroying the nation before we get a one world government in.
Yeah, because I mean, like, all jokes aside, like, if we do legitimately start fighting to the point where it's classified as a civil war, we will be invaded because we will be so beyond divided at that point. You know what'll happen. People are just going to come in and just basically run us over. That our country will cease to exist. We will not survive this time because, one, this one was not planned by our government. This was, or maybe it was, who knows, but we need to have conversations, at least to the point where we can be at least mildly supportive of each other. At least acknowledge that, hey, we're not that different. And every single one of us is being screwed in some way, shape, or form by the government, which, because it has just not been kept in check, we let it get to that point, which is why now anytime anybody wants to speak up about it, they're viewed as an extremist. And I know we have this very, very strong dislike of AOC, but I also felt when she ran, again, before she became part of the clique, she actually had some pretty decent ideas as far as, yeah, there is inequality, and I don't think she understood what her message really should have been. But yes, there's inequality, and it's not left versus right. It's not rich versus poor. There is a certain class of people that are way beyond anything that we could even begin to comprehend, pulling strings, because all we are is we're just puppet dance for them, as they just sit back and just rake in the money while everybody suffers. And the more we suffer, the more we fight, the less power we have over them, for the simple regard of, you and I are too busy arguing with each other over something that shouldn't matter in the first place. Meanwhile, this person's taking that distraction and doing whatever they want, and we're none the wiser. And even when we do find out, they're just like, yeah, we did it. What are you going to do about it?
Exactly. And you know what? I'm always up for good ideas if they're implemented the right way. But I always tell, you ever heard of the phrase, don't judge a book by its cover? Well, don't judge a bill by its title.
Right.
Because the title you said it before we logged on, it may say, oh, okay, we'll take care of veterans. But then, have gun bans in the bill, in the 900-page bill. And this is why we can't trust our own government. And then you got tyrant police. Our side says, the right side says, back the blue. Now, I agree with that, as long as we're not giving some mental patients guns and badges. And we're seeing more and more of that. You see how the leftists are treating you. Now imagine if they had guns and badges instead of being just civilians. That many of our cops are leftists, just like that. They make up their own laws and they enforce illegal laws that they made.
The major issue that we have with policing in this country, in my mind at least, I mean, again, this is just my thoughts. I have no proof or anything to reference other than we push to defund police. Okay, so what does that mean? We are taking money out of departments for equipment, training that they will need to do their job correctly and safely. And not just safe for themselves, but safe for their community. Now, you implement all of this stuff, you basically shine a spotlight on them and tell every one of your supporters to go after these people, and then you wonder why they quit. Then you can't bring new people in because you don't pay enough, and the people who are doing it, they're like, well, okay, well, I'll do it for this crappy pay, but I got bullied in high school, so now I'm going to go be a bully with a badge and a gun. And that's why we have what you see. If anytime you see a bad shooting that involves a police officer, it always comes down to a couple of things. Majorly, training or lack thereof, which becomes very apparent once like the real body cam footage comes out, not the 10-second TikTok clip to get everybody up in a rage. But yeah, if you pay people to train and get them their training and make sure that you're hiring the best candidate to be a cop, especially somebody who has literally the ability to end your life over a taillight. I would think I would want the best candidate doing that, not the cheapest. And ever since we've done the whole defund movement, which it didn't start with that. It started way before that. This was back like George Bush, Obama, like right around that switch over. Oh, the police is being militarized. We need to stop that. And that's where that whole thing really started to go downhill. Now, we've always hated the feds. The feds can fuck off. Sorry, I had to get that one in there. There's no nice way of saying that. Because remember, we don't endorse violence for politics. Tell that to the people of Waco and Ruby Ridge. pretty sure there's some lives that were taken from those two scenarios, which, we don't like to talk about that. But yeah, it's just, we create the problem, then we try and point our fingers like, well, we didn't do it. It's their fault. It's the police's fault. No, you hired a guy who has no sense of, I don't know, just brain dead moron. He got C's in high school, and now you gave him a fast car, a gun, and basically a license to do whatever he wants because he's got qualified immunity.
And we got to end the qualified immunity. I mean, we just seen the Secret Service on live television or internet, however you watch it these days, not do their jobs properly. They were very sloppy at getting Trump to safety. You had that woman who hid behind Trump, like she was scared to give a life for him, which is what you're supposed to do when you're the Secret Service. You're supposed to say his life is more valuable than mine. I'll protect him at my cost, and then all that. But they were very sloppy in it. But through all that, I will say this about Trump: he rose his fist, saying "Yeah" when everyone was chanting "Trump, Trump, Trump." And I'll tell you what, love it.
I had a friend of mine do it for me yesterday.
Well, he did a great job, and he deserves recognition. If he does it for a living, he deserves recognition, and I'll recognize him on this show.
Yeah, I definitely had to do a little bit of fighting to get that one because he said he was starting a painting, and I knew exactly what he was going to do. I saw like just a little bit of his outline sketch work, and I just texted him like, yeah, it's mine. He's like, I didn't even tell you how much. I go, I don't care, it's mine. Just tell me when I can pick it up. But yeah, he's very apolitical, and that's the best part. So like he just paints whatever feels right in the moment. Seems to enjoy it. I mean, hey, he hangs out with his cat, drinks some beers, and does something he loves, and he gets to sell them for it. He doesn't do it for politics. He just does it because he's like, hey, this is something that's really important right now. And so part of his business is he live streams all of his paintings. And
nice.
So what better way to get people to click on it than clickbait? And well, I mean, he got me, obviously. I mean, I have another painting now. But yeah, it's something I couldn't turn that down. It's like, I need this. Like, has anything since 9/11 hit like this past Saturday? No. That could have been well, like I said, it could have been a whole lot worse.
But that picture though, that shows how strong Trump is, and then him coming back into the arena, and of course the leftists are complaining that Trump didn't reach out to the widow. It's like he was just shot. He was just as traumatized about it as she was. So give the guy some time, give the guy some space, and allow him to recover fully or as much as he needs to, and then he will eventually reach her. I'm willing to bet that she will be reached by Trump in his own timing, and she will be waiting, and she will have a phone, because we have cell phones, so she's going to be everywhere with it. But leave Trump alone, because if it was reversed, if it was Biden shot at his get-togethers, I don't call them rallies, I call them get-togethers with a few friends, and that happened. And Biden did not reach out at all. They would make excuses for Biden, probably the same reasons as I just given, and then when Biden, goes beyond that and said and never reaches out, they would make excuses for the guy.
I
So,
personally, I don't think that Biden reached out to her because he actually cared. I think that was his PR team saying, "You need to call her before Trump does, so we can use this to your advantage."
well, she did say that she did say in the report that she didn't want to talk to him. So she's like, "I'm sorry, I don't want to talk to you, but we'll find out we'll find out the truth. We always do." But
Yeah,
hey,
it's gonna be a very very busy news week. So we got a lot that we're gonna have to take in, and then who knows? Maybe we'll have some breaking information and we can chat about it next week.
yep. But everyone, our time is up for the week. Be if you're a praying person, pray for Trump and his full recovery, and it's not just his physical recovery, but his mental recovery, because I've seen where he was being a little careful walking out at the RNC, like it may happen again, but he stood strong by. It takes courage to do what he did,
Yeah.
to just go out again. So be praying, not just for his physical state, but his mental state as well, because it's not an easy thing. I, I'm I know it's not. I can't even imagine how hard it is. But to understand it, I never gone through it, so I can't I can't understand it at all. But I know it's hard, and that's all I can say. But it was great having. It's great seeing you again on this show, buddy.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we will see you next week.
Everybody, have a fantastic week. If you're anywhere near where we live, it is hot as hell outside, so stay hydrated. And yeah, and air conditioning is our friend. That's all I got. That's how psycho this past week has been.
All right. Well, peace.